Welcome back to Studyfly, and today's topic is business activity. So, this is the first chapter for Business Studies IGCSE, and we'll be covering that today. Business activity is the process of producing goods and services to meet consumer needs or wants. In this line, the main keyword here is needs or wants. So basically, in simple terms, it's producing goods and services. So if any process in which we produce goods and services, that's business activity. It isn't anything fancy. So the business activity is basically linked to the basic economic problem. So first we'll start by identifying what a need is and what a want is, and then we'll move to how business activity is related to the basic economic problem. So, need is a good or service essential for living. For example, water and food and shelter. So, these are the basic things any human needs for living. So, these are simply called needs. Next is a want. A good or service that people would like to have, but it is not required for living. For example, cars and watching movies. So, this is the things like having cars and watching movies are a want because we would be happy if we have them, but it's not essential for living. So these are categorized as wants. Now, there's a concept of scarcity where there's wants. So basically, scarcity occurs when unlimited wants exceed limited resources to satisfy those wants. So, from the concept of wants, there's a new concept called scarcity. So, we are saying that in the world, the resources are less and the wants are more because wants are unlimited. When we have something, we want more of that thing or something further to that. So, it's really unlimited in nature. But the resources the earth has is very limited. So, because of that, there's a scarcity in the world. Now, that scarcity is called the basic economic problem. So, if in the exam there's a question what basic economic problem is, you just have to tell them that there's scarcity because of unlimited wants exceeding limited sources, and that's the basic economic problem. Now, there is an example to understand more about the topic. For example, if you have only $10 but want to buy a book, and a snack for that each cost $10, you can't have both. You have to choose because of limited resources. Now, if you have $10, you want a book or a snack, and each of them cost $10, you have to make a choice there. Do you want a book or a snack? Because you just have $1, and then you have to make a choice. So, the limited resource here is money, but the unlimited want here is book and a snack. So, you have to make a choice because of the basic economic problem. So we are continuing the concept of basic economic problem here. Now, since you have to make a choice, that concept also is called opportunity cost. So opportunity cost is the next best alternative forgone by choosing another item. So because of the basic economic problem, we have to make a choice, and the concept of making a choice is called the opportunity cost. Due to scarcity, people are often forced to make choices. When choices are made, it leads to an opportunity cost. So when we are having something, we have to forego it. So if using that $10 you buy a book, you have to forego buying a snack, and if you buy a snack, you have to forego buying a book. So whenever you have to make a choice, you're letting go something, and that's called the opportunity cost. So let's take an example to understand this. An example of opportunity cost is choosing to spend your evening study for an exam instead of going out with friends. The opportunity cost here is the time and enjoyment you miss out with your friends in order to gain the benefit of studying and potentially getting a better grade. So, either you can use the time in your evening to go out with your friends or study for the exams. So, if you're foregoing the time and enjoyment with your friends, you're gaining the benefit of study and potentially getting a better grade. So, if you have to understand in basic terms which is opportunity cost, the thing you leave, the thing you're not having, is opportunity cost. Okay, guys, so something really exciting is coming. So, I have started a private coaching now for business, accountancy, economics, and ICT for all grades IGCSE or O levels, AS levels, and A levels. You can have a 25-minute free trial on any topic of your choice from these subjects. And the benefits of these classes are that I have got A star in all these subjects. So, you're in a way having coaching from an A star student, and then I'll give you access to high achieving mark sheets and examiner commentary from real exam situations. I'll help you make a study plan because I'm fully aware that we have March Cambridge series coming up for the next year. So if any students appearing for the March series, I can help them make a study plan if they have not started yet or they're thinking that the strategy is not on point. Also, I'll help you in exam motivation and stress management. And the classes are really budget friendly and the classes will be flexible according to your needs. So, considering all what I would have wanted when I was in my high school days, I'm happy to give it to you guys. And if you're interested in a free trial before having the private coaching, the description of the details would be down below, and you can contact me there for your free trial class and more about the private coaching concept. So let's continue with our studying. So you remember we were talking about limited resources. That limited resources also have a name, and that's the factors of production. Factors of production are resources required to produce goods or services. They are classified into four categories: land, labor, capital, enterprise. So, whenever we think about the things required for production of either goods or services, those can be classified into any of these four things. And there is a short note at the side that says that these resources are scarce because of basic economic problem. We did discuss the basic economic problem in the previous slides. So let's discuss the land. The natural resources that can be obtained from nature. This includes minerals, forest, oil, and gas. The reward for land is strict. So, anything that is on the land and below the land, that is classified as nature. For example, minerals, they're under the land, forests that are on the land, oil and gas that are under the land. These all things are the natural resources and these are classified as land. You can take it as physical land or the resources on and under the land. The reward for land is rent. So, for example, if I have a land and I'm using it for the factor of production, I have to pay a rent for that. If somebody else is using my land, I will receive the rent, or if I'm using those resources, I have to pay the rent. So that's why the reward for land is rent. Next is labor, the physical and mental efforts put in by the workers in the factor of production. The reward for labor is wage or salary. Now, physical efforts, for example, producing goods and services as factory workers. Also, mental efforts like working as an HR manager, working in the IT company. Uh, you're not putting physical effort to produce goods and services, but you're using your skills to for a production of a good or service. That is also regarded as labor. Reward for labor is wage or salary. That is self-explanatory. Then we have capital. The finance, machinery, and equipment needed for the production of goods and services. The reward for capital is interest received on the capital. Now, so even the finances in the company, the machinery, the equipment, everything that we need for the production is categorized as capital. And the reward for capital is usually interest. Now, enterprise. This question is asked so many times in the examination, whether it's an economics exam or business exam, that what is enterprise? Give an example for that. So, it's better if you could learn the definition by heart for all these factors of production, because if you pick up the past papers, you would see that they always ask a question on enterprise. So, enterprise is the risk taking ability of the person who brings the other factors of production together to produce a good or service. The reward for enterprise is profit from the business. So, the person who's an entrepreneur, he receives profit as the return. And the keyword here is risk taking ability because you're foregoing something. You remember the concept of opportunity cost. If the entrepreneur is risking his skills and time, his money for a project, he has an opportunity cost because that person could has used that time to maybe have a vacation with family or use that money for just saving in his bank account or use that time for working at some other company and having a secure future. So, the risk taking ability is a keyword here in the definition of the enterprise. So, we'll move forward with the concept of specialization. It's not directly related to the topics we have done before, but it's one of the subtopics. So, specialization occurs when a person or organization concentrates on a task at which they are best at. Instead of doing every job, the tasks are divided among people who are skilled and efficient at them. This question is also asked so many times in the exams. What is specialization, or the other name could be division of labor? Both of them are the same thing. So, specialization and division of labor are basically that you just concentrate on one thing. That's the simplest way of remembering this, that you're just doing one task and one thing, and you're completely best at it, and you're giving your whole time to it. So, let's understand the advantages of concentrating on a one thing. So, one advantage could be workers are trained to do a particular task and specialize in this, thus increasing efficiency. So, if you do a same thing every day, you'd be really efficient at because at a point you would be subconsciously doing it. Like, for example, if you learn driving a car, at first you're really careful at driving, looking around, really panicking and doing it. After a few years, you're just listening to music, being in your own thoughts and driving because you're doing it subconsciously now because your body is so used to doing it. Same is in specializations. When you do the same thing every day, you become master at it. Other advantages save time and energy. Production is faster by specializing. Since you're really good at it, really fast at it, you're doing it subconsciously, you get really fast at it. Like, for example, if my task every day is to just put the books in the boxes, for example. So I'd be like really fast at it because I know how to do it. Maybe I've come up with a technique which makes it faster. So it really saves time and energy of the person doing it. Also, quicker to train laborers. Workers only concentrate on a task. They do not have to be trained in all aspects of the production process. Now, since the person is doing specialization, they just need to learn one skill. And once they learn it, they'll be good at it. But if they have to learn everything in a production, first of all, it would be very time consuming. They'd be really panicking because they'll be like, oh, I have to learn so many different things and there'll be so many mistakes. So instead of learning just one thing, it would be really easy for the worker themselves and it will be really easy to train them as well. Let's get to the disadvantages of specialization or division of labor. It can be monotonous, boring for workers doing the same tasks repeatedly. So, doing the same thing every day could be a bit boring for them and they would lose the motivation of doing it. So, this is one of the disadvantages, but from the side of the workers. Higher labor turnover as the workers may demand for higher salaries and companies unable to keep up with the demands. Now, the reason being that it's really monotonous, it's really boring, they don't want to do it. High labor turnover means that more people are leaving and joining the company. Now, if new people are always leaving and joining the company, there would be cost associated with it, and it would be really difficult for the company to keep up with the higher salaries and to keep up with the demands of the workers. Over dependency. If workers are responsible for a particular task is absent, the entire production process may halt since nobody else may be able to do the task. So if one process doing the worker doing the one process in the production, if that person isn't there, it may create an issue because other workers don't know what to do in that process. And if the worker isn't there, then there's a dependency on that worker coming every day. So the company has to make sure that that groups I mean, that tasks particular workers have to be there every day so that there's no stop in the production process. So, we'll discuss the concept of added value as well. So, added value is the difference between the cost of materials bought in and selling price of the product. It is the amount of value the businesses has to add to the raw materials by turning it into finished products. Now, this might seem a bit fancy, but it's really, really easy. I mean, sometimes students don't get it at the first go, but as you understand the aspects of this term, you would more understand what they're actually talking about. So let's start with an example to understand what we're actually saying. A bakery purchases raw ingredients, for example, flour, sugar, eggs, for $3 to make a cake. After mixing, baking, and decorating, they sell the finished cake for $15. The added value comes from the bakery's process of transforming basic ingredients into a delicious, ready to eat cake, providing convenience and a special treat for customers. So, if we see the price of just flour, sugar, and eggs is just $3. But since the bakery had made it a cake, they have, in a sense, added value to all these three things and they're selling it for a profit of $12. So, added value is basically just using the raw materials to make something, as in they're just adding value to those things. Like if you just sell eggs, that wouldn't be that expensive, but since you're making a cake out of it, like you're adding something, like combining something to them, you can just sell it for a higher value. That's the simplest way of explaining what added value is. Now, how to increase added value, as in like how to increase the profit coming from the added value. So, first step is reducing the cost of production. Added value of a product is its price less the cost of the production. So we have the raw materials for $3. The selling price was $15. 15 minus 3 is $12. So if I have to evaluate what added value is, then that's $12 or the profit. However, to lower the cost of production, cheap labor, raw material, etc. may have to be employed, which will create poor quality products and only lower the value of the product. Now, they're saying that if you want to reduce the difference between added value and the raw materials, as in increase the added value, you can opt for lower cost of production, cheap labor, and cheap raw materials, because since it's cheap, the added value would be more, but it would actually create poor quality products and lower the value of the product. Like even though you're reducing the cost of production, it wouldn't do that good to it. So that's a bit of a flaw of this method. Next is raising prices. By increasing the price, they can raise added value in the same way as described above. However, the high price will result in customer loss as they will turn to cheaper products. Now, the thing is that if you don't want to go for cheap labor, raw materials, you can say that, okay, I'll change the price from $15 to $20. Now, you're using good materials and everything, but since the price is high, the customers might think of opting to some other baker who may be giving it for the lower price. So that's one of the flaws for this method. So guys, this was the end of the video today. I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions related to this topic, please feel free to comment it down in the comment section below. If it was really valuable, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you want to consider for private coaching or having a free trial for it, the information for it would be in the description box below. And see you next week for another video. Bye.